ladies and gentlemen, to the Horses Now podcast. Kenny, we are back, man. Happy holidays. You guys have a good break?
Yeah, Happy New Year to everybody out there. We did. My wife and I went to Curacao for a vacation, and I did everything in my effort to keep the phone turned off. And went with a couple of friends, and then we're actually right now I'm in Gulfstream Park in Florida, fortunately, because the weather seems to have shifted on everybody, and we are, got a little bit of nice weather in here, and rested and relaxed, and got a great group of horses here in front of me, which we'll go through here in a little bit.
Why Gulfstream?
Because the weather is just so much more cooperative down here. We've got we've got a stable here at the track, and right now it's 10 degrees in Lexington, or 12, and then Oaklawn it's 20, and the racetracks are frozen, so you need working conditions.
Yep.
And so coming off my small vacation, we flew into here, and I've got a small house down here, which is convenient. So it's a good place to be based in January and February and March.
Weather makes sense. So, I'm based out of Kentucky, and it's 8 degrees today in Louisville, Kentucky. So not too much fun there, but it'd be nice to be in Florida. So Mystic Dan ran in the Malibu. Was that Florida, or was that California?
No, that was in California.
That was California.
That was a misfire. I'm going to take the bullet on that one. We had a real difficult time logistically getting into California. We had to truck him out there, which we thought he handled well, and I'm confident that he did handle it well. He ate up, and he was training forwardly out there, but he didn't run well. And as the trainer, you have you got to stick your neck out every now and then, and you know what? It didn't go good. I'm not sure that I did enough with him, but at the same time, it's really difficult taking a horse and shifting him or her from 1.25 miles and 1 3/16 and 1.25 miles plus a 7-month layoff, and then go 7/8. And in hindsight, we maybe shouldn't have gone, but hindsight's 20/20, and ultimately it rests on my shoulder. And right now he's here with me at Gulfstream, and we are going to give him a chance to redeem himself soon enough.
So no injuries there, right, Kenny?
No, he was a healthy horse. I mean, has eaten good. I just think the shortening up 7/8, and he hadn't run in a while. He was a little rusty, and we had worked him out of the gate. But look, it's a humbling business, and we're big boys.
Yeah.
And as a man in the arena, I've got to take the good with the bad. And look, he's not hurt, so that's the good thing.
Right.
And now it's just a matter of getting him back into a nice rhythm routine and finding the right spot for him next time out.
Now, do you think the distance played a factor there? Obviously, he did really well at a longer one at the Derby. Do you think Mystic Dan needs a longer distance?
Well, I think it suits him. I think once you get a horse into the routine of running a certain distance, then they like that. I do think 1 16 or 1 1/8 will be a good distance for him coming back. And right now, if he's healthy, we're leaning towards the Pegasus. If we think that he needs more time, then I'll discuss with the Gasaway family, what we think good next step is. So it's look, it's one step of many, and one race doesn't make a horse's career, but we certainly want to get him back on his best form.
How about Thorpedo Anno? Give us an update there.
Well, she's here too. I anticipated we were going to get a little bit of bad weather. We've got we shipped her from Kentucky into Ocala. She went to my farm in Ocala, Silver Leaf Hills Training Center. And she stayed there about 10 days, and then she arrived down to me 4 or 5 days ago here at Gulfstream, and she's doing fantastic. End of the show here, we will walk out and look at both of them. I'll give you a little a quickie tour of the Gulfstream shed row, which this is the first time we've ever broadcast from here.
So other than our two favorites there, Kenny, how are some of the other well-known horses doing? How about Rattle and Roll?
Well, Rattle and Roll's traveling to Saudi Arabia right now.
Ooh, okay.
A couple of my team members, Danny Ramsey and Francisco Serrano, are booked flights to Saudi, and he is going to run in the King's Cup, and we're working with a Saudi ownership group to race him over there, maybe Saudi Cup or King's Cup, Saudi Cup, Dubai World Cup if everything goes right.
Wow,
So
that's exciting.
that's an exciting one. That's $32 million in purses that horse could run for.
Ooh,
So
okay.
yeah, that's a big deal.
Awesome. So, how about winter racing as it stands here, kind of in early January? How have things shaped up for you so far?
Well, we've had a good start to the season. We've already won 4 races, and the teams both at Fairgrounds and Oaklawn have done a great job. Really proud when they win when I'm gone too. I think we won 8 races while I was out of town.
Nice.
I just got the greatest group of guys. And then we got some scheduled races on the 18th at the Fairgrounds. We're going to run a couple of fillies in the Silver Bullet Day. We're going to run a couple of colts in the LeComp, and then we're going to run maybe a couple of colts in the Southwest at Oaklawn, and we also have a couple of fillies slated for the Martha Washington. Um, it's just champagne problems. I'm really pleased with the quality of horses we're handling. Very fortunate.
Any standout horses over this winter that somebody that's caught your eye that because we talked about how Thorpedo Anna was in Mystic Dan for that matter were just 2 horses in the barn this time last year. Is there anybody that's standing out? Anybody catching your eye?
But you know what? Embarrassingly enough, 7 or 8 of them. Render Judgment, we're still really high on. We've got Mo Better Than Good, who is likely to run in the LeComp. We've got Maximum Promise, another really good colt, going to run in the LeComp. Both of those are coming off layoffs. We've got um, Take Charge Milady, who won easily at Oaklawn recently. She's likely going to run in the Martha Washington. We've also got Golden Gamble and Gal's Delights, any kind of horse. I mean, those last 2 races on Gal's Delight, Take Charge Milady were fantastic. And then I might run another a filly named She's Tweed in in the Silver Bullet Day as well. She's an American Pharaoh. So no, look, once again, we're somewhat positioned in that direction. The Derby Oaks and fingers crossed. But look, the expectations of us are to be part of all that, and I'm really proud to be in the position.
Kenny, as a trainer, when you're watching your horses work out and you're putting them through the paces, is it are you just kind of taking a chance sometimes when you run horses in these races, or do you have a pretty good idea this horse is ready for this particular race?
Well, all the horses I've mentioned have broken won their maiden level, and then taking them to the next level. The allowance races for horses that are 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds are few and far between. So you somewhat jump to the next level pretty quickly. If you think a horse is a graded stake horse, then you go right there. But the process is a humbling one. You get horses that don't go next level, and then you have horses that do. And what we do is just try to keep it consistent, where their workout pattern is there, where they're eating well. And then in some cases, it's up to the horse to go next level. And like I said, at this point, we've got some good ones that could, and we got some that won't. So we'll just have to let it play itself out.
Yeah, it's part of the game. So Brian Hernandez had a great season this past year. How has he positioned himself for this upcoming Triple Crown season?
Well, I can't really speak to that other than he's again riding a lot of our better young
And is he going to
horses.
keep riding your studs?
Oh yeah, no, he's going to ride. He's going to ride Mystic Dan if we go on the Pegasus. He'll ride Thorpedo if well, in her case, we'll either go Dubai World Cup or we'll go Apple Blossom. Although there are those that worried about me taking her to Dubai. More than likely, she's going to go Apple Blossom. So let's let that play itself out.
Okay.
And then Brian's contribution is continual. He's part of our team, and he's still based at the fairgrounds mostly, and he'll continue to get on the nicer horses that we have. And if we run entries, we've got some other riders that are interested in working for us as well.
So that was one of the questions from one of our listeners. Are there any new emerging jockeys that fans should keep an eye on?
Well, I've been real pleased with Colby Hernandez. I mean, Colby, Brian's brothers, and we've had him on the show, is winning for us as well. He won on Gal's Delight, and likely I'm going to let him ride her back. And then we've got some others. Louis Saez won a nice 2-year-old filly first-time starter here at Gulfstream for us last week. And that filly, her name's Decadent. and that filly could go next level. She's going to get a chance to do that. And for mostly though, I try to keep it with Brian, but we're open to you can't ride them all, so we'll see how that plays out.
So another question from a listener here, and I'm assuming this is posed towards Greg Geyer. Is Greg a one man team at Churchill, or do you have people that help him at Churchill, like a foreman or someone he can count on to help him with all the duties there?
Well, Greg's an amazing guy. He's had plenty of foremen over the years, but truth is that he does just fine mostly on his own. But this winter, he's down there at fairgrounds, and he's got Gerardo that helps him while he's on the ground, and Eric Saul is the one who kind of helps come back in the afternoons when Greg needs afternoons off. But he's an amazing guy, and he really prefers to have his hands in the middle of everything on his own. So if he needs a foreman assistant during the summer, he has one that helps us run horses at Indiana or Ellis Park, where Greg doesn't have to make the traveling, and he usually doesn't do the traveling. He just stays in the shed row.
Got it. Got
And
it.
one jockey I left out was Julian Le Peru.
Yeah.
Julian's won several for us, and he's right now second leading rider in the nation.
Yeah, he's a well known jockey right now.
Sure is.
Okay, so Triple Crown Trail, as it stands, kind of here in early January. How are trainers preparing their 3-year-olds for the Kentucky Derby prep races? What are you
Well, the
doing
first thing
here?
you got to do is you got to do the nominations.
Yep.
And the nominations haven't closed yet, so there's still a lot of water under the bridge here. When we decide which ones we think justify being nominated, then from there we start thinking about Derby preps and where they fit. And then there's which horses need to run at the fairgrounds, which ones run at Oaklawn, which ones run at Gulfstream, which ones run at Turfway. So all those decisions are oncoming, and you really to some extent take it as it comes and try to logistically run a horse where they've been, and so they're in a good routine at the location they could possibly run.
Kenny, what's the nomination fee these days?
Historically, it was $600. I don't think they've changed it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I have to double check that, but typically it's been $600.
So, I mean, do some trainers just take that gamble just to see if maybe their horse could be good enough?
Well, if you've got a young horse that you think's that talented and deserves to be nominated, it's a small amount to pay if you think they can even make the Belmont. So you've got to kind of predict from January to June whether a horse is going to be justified to be a part of that. And most of them have shown, whether it was morning talent or run already, that you get a pretty good idea. So in the next week or two, I'll have to sit down and make a list of horses that we'll nominate, and we'll kind of take it from there.
Kenny, I've always wondered this. So you watch the Kentucky Derby, you see the 20 or whatever horses that run in that Derby, and then you watch the Belmont, and then you watch the Preakness, and it's always a different set of horses. And sometimes you have a horse that pops up in the Belmont or pops up in the Preakness that becomes one of the favorites that wasn't in the Derby. I've always kind of wondered why that was.
Well, the theory is sometimes that the fresh horse does well coming into the Preakness. So horses that skip the Preakness, maybe they have a little bit of an edge, but really it really depends on the horse and the trainer and the timing. And a horse can. I mean, I've had horses that won allowance races Derby week and then came back in the Preakness and ran well. And we won a Belmont with a horse that ran on the Preakness undercard and won a listed stake and ended up winning the Belmont. So it's all apples and oranges, and more than anything, you've got to have a horse that shows that kind of talent and wants that kind of distance.
Makes sense. All right, last question from one of our listeners here. I think this is a 2-part question. Could Kenny explain what a trap race is?
A trap race?
A trap race. Any idea
I'm
what
not
that is?
familiar with the trap race.
Okay, no, don't even know what the term means. All right.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I wish I could help with that. That's not something that I've crossed paths with.
What about rabbits in a race? Can you explain how common these are and if they're considered fair play among trainers?
Well, there was a day when horses were entered as entries, and that's why the horses are coupled as entries because one of them provides the speed or the pace of the race to set up the race for a closer. And certain horses are what I would call, no, trying to think of a good word, compromised when the pace is too slow and then the race turns into a sprint home. It makes it very hard for a closer to catch those horses. So um, certain ownership groups would put in a rabbit to set the fast pace and go out early, hard and fast to keep the speed honest and maybe even get the speed to chase them a little bit so the race sets up for a closer.
Okay.
Now, this isn't something that's utilized today very much. And I think in the past, when stables were private stables, it was a little bit more predominant. But today, it's pretty rare that you see something like that. And if you're going to see it, you might see it in the stake race, but not otherwise.
Have you ever used one?
No, I can't really say I have. I've always felt like look, a closer is a horse that if you have a closer that's a favorite, then the jockeys are aware of it and they will try to slow the pace down. That means the rider on that horse has to let that horse be more forward in the race and
Yeah.
can't relax.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes that horse out of a running style. But I think for the most part, that's a little tricky. That's a jockey issue, and they've got to get the horse in the right rhythm. And if the pace unfolds, great. And if it doesn't, yeah, sometimes it's a head scratcher and you can't get there.
All right. Another question from a fan here. Can you ask Kenny what innovative ways the tracks or owners can use to bring fans closer to the action?
Well, of course, I try to do it on Twitter and,
Yep.
and send
And you
out
do. And you
send
do.
out notifications or at least videos of the horses that I handle. And I really wish more trainers would do that. It's a pretty easy thing to do. I think that trainers really knowing their horses and sharing their horses is a good deal. But sharing stake horses is a lot easier than sharing claiming horses.
Right.
And then I do think that, like me as a young kid, I used to go to Keeneland and they had pony rides at Keeneland where you could actually get on a horse. When I was 5 or 6 years old, my grandmother had photo of me on a horse at Keeneland. I think that for me today, that's how I ended up here.
That's cool.
And so I do think that there needs to be this engagement. But I don't run a racetrack. Of course, I probably would love to, but racetracks I think could really help grow the sport by doing those kind of things. And then opening the barn area.
Yep.
People love coming to the stables. I keep pretty much an open door policy, as most people know. At Saratoga, it's not unusual for friends and family and even fans to walk right through and touch and feel. And I think that's kind of grown the popularity of horses like Mystic Dan and Thorpedo Anna, and maybe even my barn. But that's something that I personally address, and how tracks handle that is another deal.
Interesting. Good answer. Okay, so in last kind of question in that vein, have you seen social media playing a role in how the horse industry is changing and adapting and interacting with fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are a lot of strong opinions on social media. I have a motto of staying positive, and I always tell people, troll to my face, but
That's a good
but
one.
I disengage from all the negativity. And there are what I'd call keyboard geniuses out there. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they're to be ignored.
Yeah.
There are people that really think they're really smart
Yeah.
behind a keyboard, and this is a everyday battle in the sense that we're dealing with living, breathing animals. And I think that fans, especially the ones that are hypercritical of a jockey's ride or a job that a trainer did, or want to analyze horses' speed figures and things like that, really ought to relax a little bit and think about how hard the task is at hand and how competitive this sport is. But conversation is a good thing, and criticism's no big deal. I mean, I've got criticized for taking Dan to California. You know what? I'm the man in the arena. All right. I get the glory when it happens. I get the critics when it doesn't.
Amen.
I get it. It doesn't matter to me. That I actually ignore them pretty well. I don't block many people, but the people that are rude, I will.
Yeah.
The people that are critical that want to throw stones, that's fine. I can mute them as well. So I think it's a fine balance, and I do think that social media is fun. For those that don't know, my Facebook account got I guess you say copied,
Yep.
and somebody created a Kenneth McPeek at Facebook account that pulled in 2,700 followers.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm admittedly not that active on Facebook. It was a little embarrassing because they scammed people for money.
Oh, wow.
On the Facebook page. They actually sold parts of horses to a lady, which is really a sad deal. And the lady sent them money, and then they tried to sell Thorpedo Anna and Mystic Dan gear on PayPal, and there was no such account. So I think that there's some real issues with stuff like that. We ultimately got that account shuttered.
Good.
But from my perspective, I had no idea it was happening, and you can only keep track of so many sites.
Sure.
And somebody evidently they've like what's the imitation's the best form of flattery.
Yep, that's it.
I mean, they created accounts with my face, my name, everything on Telegram. I've never even opened Telegram. I don't know what that is.
Right.
Instagram. I do have an account, but I'm not very active. I prefer Twitter. It's easy enough. But anyway. Yeah, but horse racing can be good for social media in the sense that we need more people to know what's going on. One thing I do think we need to do a better job at, I think it would be great if fans could tweet, Facebook, share the actual race, the full races, where start to finish. And right now, the industry really doesn't allow the access to be able to share races or clips of races.
Yep.
And I think that's real detrimental to the growth of this sport until we figure a way where a fan can watch a race, share a race, and whoever they share the race with can share with somebody else. I think that's where the growth of this sport is coming from, or going to happen. But the industry, specifically the Jockey Club and even racetracks, haven't addressed the media rights situation in the sport. And I think the sooner they do that, the better we all be. I have strong opinions about that. Some that people out there aren't happy about.
Sure.
But at the same time, I'm here for the sport.
Well, Kenny, I want to follow up on your social comment there with Facebook, because I run a marketing agency and we deal with Facebook quite a bit. And it's almost impossible to get to Facebook to take any sort of action. So even when you were cloned, like you said you were, you would think it'd be real easy to get that taken down. And why aren't you doing something active about it? It's literally an act of Congress to get a page like that down. So just so people understand, sometimes that's completely out of your hands and you can't do anything about it.
Well, here's what I learned about all that. Once I verified my account, and I had to do that with a passport and a driver's license.
Okay.
And once I verified my Facebook account, then I went back and approached, I guess it's called Meta now.
Yep. And
said, look, somebody's hijacked my name and image likeness. It's real flattering, I suppose. And they, you know what? They were great.
Oh, that's good. It's good to hear
that. They jumped right on it within, I think, less than 72 hours. It was down and shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think but if you're a person that hasn't been verified, and I don't know how many users you have or followers you have to be verified, then it makes it tricky. But, look, it's a different day and age. And if you'd asked me, 30 years ago when I started training, I would deal with things like that, especially at this stage in my career. I would have giggled. But,
right.
Look, we live in a new world.
That's right. All right, Kenny, let's go take a tour around Gulfstream.
Let's go look at some horses. So first of all, I'm gonna give you a little bit of Let me see if I can spin this thing around. Um, I'm handicapped here. Here we go.
Perfect.
All right. So this is our Gulfstream office.
Okay.
Of course, you all have seen these big boards and in some of the other stables, the
Yeah.
Churchill barn, the
Yeah.
Saratoga barn.
And that's
This
called
is
your that's
this is
called
a,
your set list, right?
well, that's what we call the big board.
Okay.
That's where we keep track and make scheduling, workouts, and shoeing, warming, dental, and make decisions on sets for tomorrow. I don't know if I've ever explained it to everybody, but like for example, Mystic Dan went in the fifth set with Robbie Alvarado. He's scheduled to work Saturday. We actually put new shoes on him yesterday. He gets wormed. All the horses get wormed every 60 days. Teeth done a few days ago, and then we've marked down a tentative race date. And
Awesome.
every horse has all these dates, and the assistants fill these things out. And then this is all choreographed so that every horse has a schedule. Like I know it probably looks like hieroglyphics to most people, but there were 23 horses in today's sets. We had Danny, Robbie, Freddie, and we had one other one, Kelly. And then we had 7 sets, and then we marked that each rider had a set to go on.
Okay.
And then, as you can see, we're going to breeze 3 sets tomorrow, or 3 horses tomorrow, and Saturday we're pretty active. And then, of course, everybody's in order and stall numbers and names. And this isn't my printing, but we try to keep this tidied up
I
so we know
like
what's
it.
going on.
I like it.
And then this is what I'm really proud of. That's Harlan's Holiday. That was the Florida Derby I won in
Yeah.
2002.
Okay.
Yeah, what a fantastic course. That's a win photo that I'm quite proud of, and I'd like to win another Florida Derby at some point in time. I'd like to win another Louisiana Derby, and I'd like to win my first Arkansas Derby.
Okay.
This is an old photo that Bill Denver took for me. I don't know if you can see for the glare there, but that is a 22 years younger Kenny McPeek with Take Charge Lady, one of the best fillies in my career. Harlan's Holiday and Repent were all in the same barn here. Look how young that guy is.
Oh wow! Look at that. I like it.
Anyway,
Now, Kenny, you mentioned a filly earlier. Take Charge, My Lady. I'm assuming
take
that's from that bloodstream.
bloodline, yes. So
Bloodline. Sorry.
Take Charge Milady is by a son. Her sire is Take Charge Indy. Say hi to Liz. Hello.
Hey, Liz.
This is Mystic Dan. He's
Ah.
getting a little bit doted over here today. They're cleaning him up. He's been out and grazed and walked. But Take Charge Milady is by a son of Take Charge Lady.
Okay.
And I think the bloodlines do work that way where they pass on. But I tell you, she's a beautiful filly. Actually, a couple people interested in buying her off a real impressive win the other day.
Awesome.
And then we'll walk down the line. Of course, Mystic Dan got it. All the horses have their own name cards.
Okay.
It gives her pedigree and such. This is a filly named Saint Nancy S. She's by Promises Fulfilled, and it's a beautiful filly. She's been real slow to come around because she's had some physical issues, but she's back to work here. And here's the queen here.
Ah, there she is.
Let me see if I can get my phone right. Yep, there's Thorpedo. A little sassy today.
Yeah, she.
No peppermint. No,
Yeah.
not.
You gotta stop those peppermints after her mouth issue.
Yeah, well, she's all sorted out on the
Good.
mouth issue. We got
Good.
that all cleaned up. But and she's got a new halter as well. I think we've given away 6 or 7 of both her and Dan's to charities.
Oh, and I
And
guess those will be
yeah, she'll
auctioned
wear
off.
this one
That's
for a
cool.
few weeks or a month, and um,
That's
um,
cool.
we'll go from there. But the rest of the team finishing up the barn. A lot of young horses that haven't broken their maidens yet, and are just getting the season going. Beautiful down here. We're lucky we're not in Kentucky.
Yeah.
We're really having tough weather up north. But
Yeah. The ice and snow is not fun here right now. I can tell you that.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Awesome, Kenny. Good stuff, man. Well,
Yeah, there's Mystic Dan.
oh, okay, so he's out and moving.
Yep.
So how quickly do you think you'll bring him back to race?
He's going to breathe Saturday. We're going to give him 2 works down here, and if he works well, then we're going to consider running him in the Pegasus. I mean, the race is still wide open, and we'll give him an opportunity to redeem himself.
Yeah, might be a decent bet there too, because he probably won't be too low of odds after the last performance.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but we got a couple of works to get through. We'll make sure he's eating good and doing good. It's almost feed time around here, so this is a happy time for most of them.
I bet.
The guys got the tubs full. There's Anna. Anna's like, "Are you going to bring that to me? Am I going to bring that to me?"
You've always mentioned she eats well.
Oh yeah, she never misses a meal, kind of like me.
Yeah, I have that same problem.
All right. Well, listen. Hope everybody out there had a great New Year, and we're keeping on around here.
Well, we appreciate it, Kenny. Thanks for checking in. Enjoy the Florida weather down there, and we'll check back in with you next week.
All right, sounds good. See you at the races.
See you at the races.